As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Shooter Magooter. Shoots, what's up, dude?
I actually kind of feel like myself this week, so I don't know if you've noticed, but I let the beard grow in.
You did? Yeah, I liked it.
Let the mustache kind of go away. So this is what happened, though. You know how, like, you move, you lose things, you don't know where the hell anything went?
You lost your face.
I lost my face, yes. I lost my trimmer, and I just let it go wild. So I was using, like, scissors to cut it. It just got messy. Went out, bought a trimmer. That exact day, found my trimmer.
Okay. Well,
yeah, in a Band-Aid box.
Why?
No idea. I don't know if I did it. I don't know if Colleen did it. We have no idea what happened. We were looking for weeks. She had a bunch of, like, razors and stuff in there, so, like, it was, you know, shaving-centric at least. I don't know what happened. But I knew I was going to find it as soon as I bought a new one. You know how that works?
A Band-Aid box, like a cardboard Band-Aid box, like a first aid kit?
It's like, all right, so if you go to Costco, if you're familiar with buying in bulk, you get like a huge box, and it's got all the different types of Band-Aids
No,
and stuff.
Before you continue, I have to make this point about all Costco members. Every Costco member, when they say, have you heard about Costco? Like, yeah, everyone knows what Costco is, but everyone that belongs to Costco acts like they have discovered bulk shopping.
Well, no, I'm just explaining what bulk shop. What do you want me to say? As soon as I said Costco, you knew I was talking about something in bulk.
Exactly.
I feel like it's synonymous.
Well, then you don't have to take the time to explain.
All I said
to me
is you know how Costco sells in bulk.
You said you understand how bulk shopping works?
No, I didn't. I
Along
said that
those
after
lines.
the fact. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, in a Band-Aid box, no fucking idea what was going on. So I looked a little disheveled last week, and I'm back. Mustache is back, feeling good. You know, birds, it's the best. Honestly, this is like a bye week on steroids. We don't even have to worry about it. We just get to watch football knowing that we'll play next week, and we'll get to figure it out. So you know what? Everything's going great.
Yeah, no, I'm vibing pretty well too. You know, it's 2023. We got a clean slate. I'm excited for the year. We're already off to a really fun start with Cloud 10. Like, we're legit now. We're official.
Yeah.
And fuck yeah, go Birds. We're in the playoffs. We're #1 seed. We're in the bye week. I went to the game. And you know how I feel about going to football games, right?
Yeah. You'd rather be on the couch watching the game or Red Zone.
100%. So one of our clients at the gym was like super nice and got us all tickets. He's a season ticket holder, and he took me and two of the other trainers down. He went to the Union League for lunch first. Like, it was a whole day.
That sounds nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. All right. And this is why I don't go to fucking football games. And it was my worst nightmare realized. So I had a huge dinner this week. As you know, I had to make like 180 meatballs over the course of the week. And I had to leave the game a little bit early, like beginning of the fourth quarter, so I could go home and do some prep for this big dinner I have.
Start crafting the balls.
For crafting my balls, yes. So they all took the train in, which is the smart move because you know how traffic gets down there. That was the right thing to do. They take the train. I'm like, look, I'm going to drive. I'm going to park so I can bounce a little bit early. Like, I'll meet you guys down there. Unbeknownst to me, 90% of the lots for Eagles games are reserved parking only. Had no idea. The lots that were cash, full.
What time did you? Oh, because you went to lunch. So
we
what
went
time
to
did you
lunch.
get there?
So I got to the stadium area at about 3:50.
Oh, dude, rookie.
Do you know when I got into the game? There was 1:20 left in the second quarter.
Jesus.
I missed
Christ.
a half of football trying to park my car, and when I tell you I was driving with like just blind rage. Obviously not like driving like a crazy person because it was bumper to bumper traffic, but I was just sitting in my seat seething. I was so upset. Everything was going through my head like, this is why I don't go to football games. This is why I stay home. This is why I watch it on my couch, or I go to a dive bar and I just watch it there.
Wait, so the best part is you were already planning on leaving early. You didn't get there until halftime.
Yeah.
And you probably left with like, 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter?
4 minutes left in the fourth. After we kicked that field goal, I thought the game was over. I left, and it got a little sketchy there at the end, but we still pulled it out. The point is, lesson learned. I will never go to another Eagles game again unless we're in the playoffs or the Super Bowl.
God.
That is
so funny.
Yeah, it was tough. And it was way worse because I was already like, you know what? Like, I'm not a big go to the game guy, but it'll be fun. I'll have a good time. fucking disaster.
That's so funny. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, but go Birds, we won. Anyway, we had a wild, wild week in the Bravo world. There was a ton of shit going on, and we need to dive into it. But before we get there, let's knock out the rose and the thorn. Let's get those out of the way. I've got a couple, but I'm going to pick my best ones.
All right. Go for it.
All right, so I'm going to start out with my thorn, okay? And this one comes from TikTok, and I'm not going to read the name because I'm not giving them the credit. They just wrote, respectfully, I don't think Housewives is the show for you.
Yeah, I saw that one.
To which I replied, respectfully, we don't care, and we really don't. You're not going to gatekeep us out of this. We are going to be here for a very long time. We just signed a contract. You think we're going somewhere now? You think you're going to push us out now? No, we're here to stay, baby.
I actually love those because, like, keep them coming because it's really funny to me.
It's like fuel for the fire. Yeah. We're motivated by hate. And then my rose is from TikTok as well, and it's from Outdoorlos. And Outdoorlos says, I was a shooter stan until he decided to talk shit on Ultimate Girls Trip on today's pod. Pissed. And I just love the idea of you losing fans because of stances and someone be like, I will die for shooter, and drop the I don't like the Ultimate Girls Trip, and now they just don't like you anymore.
It's fun. I mean, honestly, like I commented back on that and I said, well, I'm not going to pander to the fans. I do not like Ultimate Girls Trip, and I don't give a shit. You're probably still going to end up being a shooter stand. That's what I told him. So hopefully he still will be. Outdoor Los, hopefully. Now, I had one. Here's the thing. You sent me one earlier in the week, and it was a review on our actual podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So I honestly just thought you were going to roll with that one. So I came up with a secondary one. I was going to do the guy who said, oddly enough, on the Salt Lake TikTok or Instagram, wherever it was, he was defending Mia. And
Yeah.
He's like, I'm with everything that you guys say, except you're wrong on Mia. She's the same as every other housewife that we love, and that's why we all love her. He's on an island by himself, right?
I think
there were people commented on it. Other people commented on it, like, nah, dude, you're on your own.
You're literally on
Nobody's defending me, especially after this episode. Like, Jesus, God, she's intolerable. But I'm going to go with the review that we had on our actual podcast.
I'm glad because I totally forgot, and that was a really good one.
Oh, yeah. And I've honestly been thinking about it all week. All right, so I'm going to try to read this. I think he's speaking English. I will find out. Never flip-flop the shows. Seems you're not so passionate with, period. When Beverly Hills was done, you felt bored. Praised Salt Lake. Now you're doing again with Salt Lake. In parentheses, bored. And Miami, praise. Not cute. What the fuck? Like, we're watching the same shit that you're watching. Everybody is... I don't understand. When we've talked about this before, creators will just stand by shows and be like, you know what? It really wasn't the best, but we still love all of our ladies. No, we're going to sit here. If we're not enjoying the product that's out in front of us and we're taking time out of our day to watch it and then talk about it, if it sucks, it sucks. And a lot of these shows have that record where it'll start off strong. They'll kind of hook us and bring us in, and then they won't deliver. And that's when we're going to rip it apart. It's not us. It's Bravo's fault, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And when I read that, and it seemed so benign and like not that big a deal, but this one made me really angry because I was like, that's literally what we do. We pride ourselves on being unbiased. And because of that, some of these shows start out with a bang and then they fizzle out and they stink. And if they stink, we're going to tell you that they stink. I'm not going to sit here and pander to the ladies of Salt Lake that I don't know. I'm going to tell the listeners that we have, hey, started off okay, totally sucks now. They had a golden goose in content with Jen Shaw's case, and they fucking sidestepped it. So It was a disaster of a season. We were excited. It stinks. So now we're not excited. Miami, we are excited. We are still excited. Hopefully we'll continue to be excited.
Stink.
Right? So,
God,
like,
if they fumble the bag again, what are you going to do?
what are you going to do?
But, I mean, look, Zach got shit. It's so funny because Bravo fans are a lot like sports fans where a lot of it just makes no sense. And, like, you and I try to get into people's minds, and it really doesn't end up working. But Zach earlier, and we know that our friend Zach liked Rinna, and he would always kind of stand by Rinna and Erica, and when people were giving them shit, including us, and he would defend them, and whatever. That's his agenda. That's what he wants to do.
But
fine.
the thing with him is, like, he will go back and forth with you in, like, a constructive way. Like, we could talk shit to him about Rinna, and he would be like, well, what about this? We'd be like, well, what about that?
He took a picture with Sutton last week, and people were outraged. So mad because he doesn't give Sutton enough love. what the fuck? Who cares? Like, if I'm covering sports and I see like Dak Prescott kind of sucks. If I see, another quarterback that I don't cheer for and I see him out, I'm going to take a picture with him. I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah,
it's so weird. It's so bizarre, but whatever. I don't know.
You know what drives me nuts about those kinds of comments? And it's weird because I never thought that this would like grind my gear, but it reminds me of like way back. Do you remember
gears? Do you only have?
I only
one
have
single
one gear. Yeah, I'm a 1-gear bike. I'm not a mountain bike. I'm a BMX bike. 1 speed, baby.
What is it grinding on? Whatever.
It's just my gear. Fuck off. It's my gear. You leave my gear alone. What grinds my gear, period, or comma, is it happened forever ago. Somebody commented like they didn't like what we were saying about Patricia and Whitney, and they were like huge turnoff. And then this dude ends it with not cute. We're not trying to turn you on or be cute. I don't understand why when people comment on these things, they have to end it with, this is not attractive. What do you, no shit. What the fuck? Like, I'm not
trying to be cute here.
Yeah, I'm trying to just relay how we feel about the show. I'm not trying to look cute for you.
Yeah,
that's all.
I'm with you. But my rose comes from Twitter. This is where we were, by the way. Running into some gear problem. My
gear got stuck.
Comes from Leah Futzum, Futzum. I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
You read it better than I would have.
Yeah. I feel as if I'm watching a theoretical discussion in university regarding Potomac. Love it. About us talking about Ashley last week. So now, here's the idea. We're professors now, I guess.
Well, I will take that. Professor Magooter?
Professor Magooter has a great ring to it. I'm into it. But that's where we are for Rose and Thorn. That was a pretty good round.
That was one of our longer rounds of Rose and Thorn. But hey, keep it coming.
Yeah.
The hate, the love, we love it all. I did want to read one, I forgot, and I need to find it, but someone literally said pandering for a rose here. They were trying to get Rose, that I was going to give it to him, but I lost it. So I'll try to find it next week.
Yeah, do it next week.
But let's dive into the news. It was a wild week, as I said. Let's start it off with something came to fruition that we were hoping for. Diana and Rinna, smell you later. They're gone. Peace. Deuces.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do. There's still rumors circulating like Brandy coming back, but now Brandy's confirmed for Ultimate Girls Trip 4, and that filming is kind of like coinciding with Beverly Hills, so who the fuck knows what's going to happen. It might just be pretty much everybody that we're used to, minus Rinna and Diana. Diana's was stupid. She said she couldn't film because it would be too tough while she's pregnant. I think that's just a cop-out. Like, she was not asked back, and they're like, well, we'll just give you an excuse.
Yeah, and that's the toughest part, because obviously it's like a super sensitive subject, and I can't imagine they asked her back. Like, she was pretty much non-existent towards the end of the season. Like, she tried to cause a scene. She tried to cause a stir. She just ended up being super mean and not fun at all, and then she just faded out because she's boring as shit.
Yeah, then she hated that her private life was being exposed on, like, social media because she's on a reality TV show. Who saw that coming?
I mean,
not me, I guess. I don't know.
That's what blows my mind about all of the people that get caught up, and then they're like, oh, well, I don't want people to know that. It's like, well, you signed up. You auditioned for this show. You got what you wanted, which leads me to my next thing. Potential housewife coming into the franchise if Andy is smart and if he signs this free agent immediately. Jennifer Coolidge, in an interview, someone just like shouted out as she's walking away, would you be in the Real Housewives? She turns around, yes. And there was another interview where she said, yeah, I'm a fan of the show. I watch it. And she hinted at being potentially on the show. You want to save Beverly Hills? You stick Jennifer Coolidge in Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah.
White Lotus, are you shitting me?
Huge comeback for her.
She's had like one of the biggest comebacks ever, from being Stifler's mom all the way now to White Lotus. She's having a second coming of Jennifer Coolidge. And like, I've always loved Jennifer Coolidge. There's very few things I watch with her that I don't enjoy. The bend and snap from Legally Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Damn right.
Hell yeah. No, she's so funny. She's so nice to like see on the screen at all times. I wasn't the biggest White Lotus fan, but every single scene that she was in, I loved. Yeah, like she was the star of the show the whole time, and she kept it going for me. I would love to see her. She was a pleasure at the Golden Globes the other night. If she joined, I think the dynamic between her and everybody would be so pleasant. And it might, you know what? You might not get a lot of drama from it, but we don't need all the drama in the world anymore. Sometimes just watching them spend a ton of money on a bunch of random shit that we could never imagine buying, that's the simplicity that should be Housewives. I don't need
love
this
that
made-up
idea.
drama bullshit.
No, let the drama happen organically.
Yeah.
It will, in fact, happen, okay? It will happen at some point, but I'm getting tired of the forced drama. We have seen it across franchises this past year. They're reaching so hard for certain things. I think it finally came to light with the Heather thing. Like, that was so blown out of proportion.
Oh,
so
supposedly,
forced.
and not to jump ahead, I guess this isn't really jumping ahead. Her black eye's not even mentioned in her book.
It's not? After
Not
saying,
even
if you want
mentioned
to
in the
know,
book.
read the book?
Nope. There were multiple people on Twitter that said, read the book, not even mentioned.
Well, I mean, I think that we've gotten to the bottom of it. I've seen multiple articles, and we'll just jump directly into Salt Lake from here. But we've seen multiple articles come out that people have been speculating. I'm like 99.9% sure it was a Botox malfunction.
Yeah, so am I.
That, or she fell and like banged her head against the sink. Nobody punched anybody, and Zach actually pointed out a lot of really obvious reasons that we didn't think about before. If there was a physical altercation between castmates, then Bravo would have to do an investigation. They would have to find out, because now it's like a hazard to the workplace. They're worried about insurance, getting sued. There's a lot of different things that come into play. So we would have had way more information about it other than just like speculation and forcing this story. So clearly it's self-inflicted either by Botox or falling down. And for them, 1, production to push this, 2, for Heather to push this, and 3, for the show overall to push this shit is disrespectful to the audience. Like, I know that Bravo fans, we all want to like see the drama. We want to see crazy shit. Like, obviously we don't want to see like somebody get punched in the face. But if you feel comfortable as a production to force that upon us and make us speculate amongst these women who is going to beat up one of their friends, like, that's a big fucking claim. And for them to shove this down our throat and then give us nothing in return and then backdoor us with like the end of the last episode being about Jen, that's all we get this fucking season. And we're going to sum it up right now. Like, we're just going to talk about it kind of as a whole, like where it fell short, what they could have done better, how we feel moving forward. All right.
I don't know. And I've seen some rumors that they're going to add in 3 new cast members. Maybe not full-time housewives, but 3 new women that have never been on the show before, have pretty much like no connection to Bravo at all. So there's not going to be like pulling a castmate from OC down here, whatever. There's just going to be 3 new people, and they're just going to add them in there to see what the dynamic's like. You already have so many more people, and this is the reason that the show sucked, at least this season, was because they kept teasing these things. And like, we knew that the Jen Shao thing was going to happen. We didn't get shit until the end. We finally got one who wasn't even a full-time cast member, with Dana yelling at her in San Diego and accusing her of what we've been talking about for months and months, that she's just a terrible friend and everybody's afraid to talk to her. We finally get that. We get absolutely nothing after that. Then they cut the part. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, yeah.
They cut the scene where Dana at Heather's book, I guess it was a book cover party. Like,
it was a book
everybody
cover
was like, what the fuck? We don't
reveal.
get books?
A
like,
book cover reveal party, I want to call it.
Stupid. I you know what? Maybe I'm not versed in like the world of books and how that
everyone
works.
there said it was stupid.
All
Nobody
right.
was like, this is a good call.
Yeah, it just seems silly. But Dana goes at Jen in the middle of the party while Coach Shaw was there, which we also never see, because we always see that Jen will call her husband over so that she doesn't like go crazy and people won't talk shit to her directly and it won't escalate things. He's like a calming presence. He comes over and Dana goes right after her and accuses her pretty much of what she's guilty of.
Yeah.
And throws that dagger in there, and Bravo leaves it out, even though they used it in the teaser for the whole show, not only for the mid-season but also for before the season. Then they cut it out. That like, it just made no fucking sense. I think it could be because now we've got a sit-down one-on-one with Andy and Jen coming up at some point.
Oh.
So they're going to hold off on some stuff, or they're going to save it for the reunion, whatever they're going to do. These tactics that Bravo's using for this show specifically suck. It's just not working.
No, it didn't work. It's not that it's not working. It did not work. And I would like to know if different production groups work on each show. Like, I'm pretty sure they have teams for each one. I can't imagine that one person's cutting all of them.
There could be some spillover, yeah.
But I just don't understand their intention. What are you trying to do? You give us little teasers so that we can feast during the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you constantly tease with no payoff, you people are just going to get disinterested, and if your big teaser is a black eye all season, then you give us nothing when we are watching somebody about to be convicted to like real jail time, and we're not talking about that. How the fuck are we not talking about that? Jen Shaw should not have this much say over what's being said on the show, and I don't understand why. So you can have a 3-hour sit down where she talks about all the shit that we already know, where she tries to defend herself. No shit. She had a fucking dinner the night after she got convicted with like 14 people to celebrate that she didn't get 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a horrible person, and instead of just shutting this shit down, making this season a wash, saying it is what it is, we fucked this up, we didn't highlight the right thing, we're going to give her 3 more hours with Andy? Like, get this shit off of my TV. I'm done with her. Put her in an orange jumpsuit and stick her in fucking prison, because I don't want to see Jen Shaw anymore. She's not interesting. She fucked the whole season up. She screwed up Heather, and Heather was one of my favorites, and Heather got dragged down into this sludge that is Jen and just ruined her. And I'm so pissed that one of my favorite franchises is hopefully canceled because fuck this show.
This is so funny because you started off today being like, you know what? I think I'm going to be like a little more chill, a little more relaxed. I'm going to sit back here, bring the microphone back. I'm going to be chill. But I'm going to have to get up at some point because I'm going to go off. And you were just seething.
This is
for
the
last
moment.
2 minutes.
Because
this is so funny, though, because now we finally have like the full episodes on YouTube. And people can watch you just kind of like rise up.
Slowly slink out of my seat.
And I've been laughing for the last like 3 minutes. And everything you said is entirely true. Like, this season was just shit. And this was my first season. And I loved it to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that that guy who reviewed the podcast is right. But I loved it to begin with. And then it just completely fell off. And it stunk. And it just never hit. All these questions that we had, all these things we wanted to see just never happened. They were teased and never happened. What's the fucking point in watching if we're not going to get answers, if they're just going to keep teasing? Like, the sucky part is last week we were done, we were out, we were done.
Yep.
Then season finale rolls up. We're like, well, are we really going to fucking stop before the season finale? So anyone who calls us frauds out there, fuck you. Fuck you. We're not frauds, all right? But we're still going to have to watch. We're still going to report on it. Here's the thing, though. I don't mind reporting if we're just going to rip it apart.
Yeah,
because I have a lot of fun ripping it apart.
It deserves it.
It really does. And I have more fun just like kind of like chatting and like having a good time watching the show. But if it stinks, that's when like I feel like we rise up and we're like, fuck this. Like, this is bad.
Well, because I'm just not going to sit here and try to pretend that things were good. And I think that moving forward with this show, I don't know if adding 3 randoms is going to be the right answer. I think that they need to...
I think they're just hoping to catch lightning in a bottle at some point and just get a good season out there to like renew for a couple of years.
The shame of it all is I came around to Lisa Barlow finally this season. I thought she did great. I thought she had a good, especially second half of the season. I like seeing her away from Meredith. Like, she did a lot of good things, and now I don't care about this show.
Yeah.
I like her, and I hope that she comes back in some capacity. Like maybe an Ultimate Girls Trip, or they can figure out.
That's we keep saying that about these shows. Like, we kind of enjoyed Dubai for like an episode, and then we're like, this sucks. Like, Ion's great, but the rest of them stink. Maybe we can get Ion to come over and do something. What, you want Ion in like Beverly Hills or something?
We call
What's
it
going on here?
Real Housewives Island of Misfit Toys, and you just stick the best ones from shitty franchises. You get one from Dallas. You get one from Dubai, you get one from Salt Lake, and I'm sure there's other ones out there. Or you can grab somebody from like the Southern Charms that didn't pan out, like New Orleans or something. And it's the Island of Misfit Toys, so it's kind of like Ultimate Girls Trip, but you make them stay better because they have to sign on for 3 seasons.
Okay,
so you can't.
So they know that they're going to be there,
and they
can't just mail it in.
Wait, I got more. And they gotta live in the same neighborhood for 3 years, or the same city. They gotta pick a random city.
Neighborhood.
Here you go. Stick it in Cleveland. You get your show.
That would be brutal. Could you imagine Ion living in Cleveland?
I want to see Ion living in Cleveland.
God, and it's winter, and there's just like wind whipping off the lake. No, that actually is a good point though, because Ultimate Girls Trip 4 was just announced, and look, everybody that listens to this show knows that I don't like Ultimate Girls Trip. I didn't like the last one, Ex-Wives Club. I'm open-minded for the third one, which hasn't dropped yet. Open-minded for it. But the 4th one was just announced, and it's pretty much everybody from the second one. Or, I'm sorry, they dropped Dorinda and they dropped Jill. Everybody else from Ultimate Girls Trip 2, the Ex-Wives Club, is going, and then they added in like 2 or 3 more people. Everybody towards the end just kind of seemed like disinterested. I guess like Brandy seemed like she wanted to be there. Vicky really didn't want to be there the whole time. Eva was like, I don't know why I fucking did this. Phaedra's like, yeah, I don't know. And everybody's like, oh, maybe she'll get back to Atlanta. They're just going to run it back?
Well, Phaedra is now a cast member on Married to Medicine.
Oh, I did see that.
That was just announced because she's dating a doctor. So she got back into one of the main franchises.
Well, that's good for her.
Yeah, good for Phaedra. I like Eva. I think she's going to...
I liked Eva, too. It just seemed like everybody was, like, disinterested in the show towards the end. They're like, all right, you know, like, let's get the fuck out of here. But maybe it was because of Dorinda and the whole Bluestone Manor thing.
And I think the funniest part is Dorinda was the thirstiest one out of all of them.
Yeah,
she got the shaft.
Yeah, she's not going to be... Well, God, who knows what the hell's going to happen with those Roni shows. But, yeah, I don't know. Salt Lake, we'll see what happens with the reunion. Hopefully it's just one part. I don't think that we can get through 3 parts, 2 parts, 4 parts, whatever the fuck they want to do. Hopefully it's just one part. We get through it, and we're done until next year. But who knows?
The only thing that we have to finish it with, because this was one of my favorite moments and one of the reasons that I love Coach. Did you see what he was doing when she's getting ready for trial the next day?
Oh, he was watching film.
He was watching film.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that, yeah. I mean, that's mid-season, though. Like, she was out there, I think it was September, maybe early. It was early October, right?
Yeah, I think it was October.
That's mid-season for the Utes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
the Utes, he had to get ready. He had to get ready for next week.
Film. I saw that right away. And it was just the tiniest sliver of his computer.
Yep.
Like, he's watching film. Good dude.
He had the actual film remote.
When he walked over to Chris Harrington.
And broke his hand.
And Chris Harrington just shut down. Look, I'm not like a big, like, toxic masculinity, like how
dare
like
toxic.
No, hold on. You'll know what I mean when I say it in a second. Like having your wife talk for you is like a bad thing, but in this moment, like Chris Harrington is a huge wimp.
Oh yeah,
I'm being nice with that word wimp. I could call him a lot of other things, but I'm gonna call him a wimp.
Chris Harrington,
he
started
crying. Like you just said it. All right, there you go.
I mean, he was a shriveled up little worm, and like I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, I think that if your wife wants to stand up for you and speak on your behalf, like, yeah, that's fine.
But if it's your actions that did it, and you're gonna let your wife do it, like I'm not big on being like, how dare you let your wife talk for you when you're the one who did the actions. But in this sense, like, I feel like Angie had to say something because he was just like whimpering.
He just cowered. And you know what? I don't mind calling him a pussy because he deserves it. Like, you started the account, and like, look, I'm not advocating for Jen Shaw here at all. But I'm just saying, objectively speaking, if you start an account with the name, if I started Magooter Exposed and like threw your name under the bus or whatever. Like,
God, I hope that pops up.
I hopefully one of our one of our listeners, Magooter Exposed, do it. But like, you need to just apologize. And the funny thing is, and I knew it was going to happen, like, Coach walks over there and he's stoic. He's straight face. He just stands there and he's expecting an apology. He's waiting for it. And Chris Harrington just shriveled up and was whimpering. He was whimpering. And Coach, I know for sure when he shook his hand, that was the firmest fucking handshake that Chris Harrington's ever gotten. And he probably felt about 2 inches tall. And he should, because what 40 or 50-year-old dudes making fucking burner accounts talking shit about your friends' wives? Like, what a loser. And I'm talking about a guy that was talking shit about like Jen Shaw, who I hate and is a terrible person, going to prison.
That's the weirdest part, is he wasn't even talking shit on her.
Oh, yeah,
he was talking shit on
Lisa. I know, but like,
just the whole thing was very weird, real strange behavior. Dude's look, like, we have issues with like Angie Harrington and everything. How the hell he's married to her? Like, she seems, outside of the housewife world, she's attractive. She seems kind of smart. Like, how the fuck is this dude with her? He seems like a little piece of shit.
He's just a weasel. He reminds me of Eric from Billy Madison.
That's a good point.
Just like his mannerisms, like he's just like a little. I bet he laughs like that. Like, he's just a weasel.
Oh, absolutely,
But that takes us back to Miami. So we caught a lot of flack for like claiming that Adriana was not an actual singer, but it was a housewife singing career. And the arguments that I got to defend her did not help disprove that she is just a housewife singer. People came up to me at the gym. We got comments online. They're like, well, she's not a real singer. her song is the theme song to Real Housewives of Miami.
That's like the epitome of housewife singer.
I know. I was like, you're proving our point. That doesn't mean.
I also saw the funny thing is, and like, no shade, but wait, hold on. Is it reasonable or is it shady? A couple of
Do
people.
we have to copyright that or
I have
something?
no fucking idea. But a couple of the people that did comment, they were Instagram models. So it's like, well, are you a model or are you an Instagram model? You know, it's like kind of the same thing. And I'm like, oh, that would make sense. You know, likewise, defending likewise. So
This whole video shoot was a disaster start to finish. And I think the funniest part to me was this director trying to keep all these ladies reined in, and they could give two shits.
it was funny because it started off, and we talked about the director last week. He seemed like a guy who took his job very seriously.
Super seriously.
And we're like, why is he doing this? Like, I feel like he could be doing other things. Maybe he's up and coming, whatever. And then he started off this on the boat, and he knew like where the cameras were. It was a complete 180. He looked so different from the last time that we saw him. He was doing the Vogue pose and everything. And then as soon as he brought up the other girls knowing the dance moves, the real director came out and he started getting pissed off. I'm like, there he is. There's the hard worker. There he is. All right. This is going to be a shit show.
It was. Yeah. And obviously half the girls didn't know what the choreography was. And Marisol was just throwing a wrench into everything because she's bombed and she's like storming onto the set while they're shooting, like handing out cockies to everybody. Like, here you go. Here you go. And no one seems to care that this director, and that was the best part, I think, is that he's getting so up in arms and like demanding respect and demanding these women like get in line and like start listening to him. And they like, this guy means so little to them. They're like, we really don't care. You can get in our face and yell, and it's still not going to matter. People start leaving the set. Larsa refuses to be in the video. She's just shitting off to the side. Oh, she's just sitting off to the side, and and this actually kind of bugged me because if you're going to show up to one of these things, like, is it kind of cheesy? Sure.
Yeah.
Is it a big deal to Adriana? It is. And it's not that difficult to fake it for an hour and just like get in the video, make her happy, appease your friend, and just like buy into the experience. It's like that person that goes to a Halloween party in street clothes. You know what I'm talking about? Like they just dress up and it's just like buy in. Like it's not dorky to be a dork with everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that always grinds my gear. But but the one thing, like, and I think Marisol can get away with it because she's just like so quirky, but she just runs up and like just pinches that dude's bare ass.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
And they get it on camera.
Yeah. What did she keep calling his balls? Like, she's like, oh, you're wearing patent leather. Like, you got to let the grapes breathe or something.
No,
I don't remember.
Fuck, what was it?
It was something weird. You reflect on that, but
I don't want to reflect on that.
Yeah, please do. No, I mean, yeah, the whole thing, it was just a mess from the start, and like we knew it was going to be a mess, and nobody took it seriously. I actually felt pretty bad for Adriana because she's sitting there, she goes back to her confessional, and she's like, I don't have, what did she say, rich dick. Like, I can't just go to the bank and get a deposit or get a withdrawal so that I can get something and go do this. Like, I have to do this music. She kept saying the music video. So I guess the music video, she says, is more important because then it sells the song. I think she's living in like 2003.
I was actually, that struck me too. I was like,
anymore, when I see a music video for a song, I'm like, why does this have a music video?
That's
like,
what I do. I'm like, they still do these?
Yeah. And some people will throw them on at parties. I'm like, why is this still on? Whatever. If it's not 2000s R&B music videos going on in the background, I don't really care.
Those were fucking so good.
Yeah, because they were like so movies.
Yeah.
Like any like Usher.
Usher, Let It Burn?
Yeah,
that's
dude,
what came
that was
to
like
mind.
a fucking 12-minute. We're like, R. Kelly, Trump in the Closet. We're not going to talk about that.
Nope.
But yeah, I felt bad because this is her livelihood and nobody's taking it seriously. And then later when we see that Julia actually understood that Adriana was kind of upset when Kiki storms off and she's bitching about the fact that she doesn't want to be in the music video. She's still mad because Adriana like essentially just got mad at her for kind of not taking it seriously. And then she just ate, what was it, a Big Mac or
a Whopper? She crushes a Whopper and she's like, that's my sign off. If I eat this, I'm done.
Oh, it's that
which I understand.
Burger King commercial that always comes on. Whopper, 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 Whopper.
No,
Whopper.
it's a free ad. We can't do that.
Yeah, we can. But
I refuse to advertise for Burger King.
I felt bad for her. And then Julia steps in. She's like, yeah, I didn't invite her to a party because I just saw her like yelling at the director about how she doesn't want to be in it. And she's going to sue him if she sees her face on it. Like, that's not the kind of energy I want there. I'm like, that's a good friend. That's what I like to see. I know I'm jumping around, but that's what I like to see.
The jump around's fine. I have a counterpoint. Okay, so when they're all kind of going back and forth, and there is irrational arguments happening inside of this cabin. Like, I don't know what was going on between Alexia and Gertie. Like, I don't. That was such an arc of just like, we had the intro, exposition, climax, denouement, all that stuff. I forget which order they come in, but I couldn't follow who was upset at who and about what. It got so convoluted in there that then they both end up crying, and then they just hug it out. Whether it's fake or not, I actually very much appreciate that they can at least make up at the end and we can move on.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're not dragging some dumb shit on. We've heard about it a couple times, but it hasn't taken over a whole episode.
Correct.
You know? Yeah. So it's just a little tidbit here, a little tidbit there, and then a very, very weird argument, crying, fight, makeup.
Yeah, love you, hug.
It was odd, but now we're done with it.
But back to my main point here with the Kiki thing. So this all stemmed because of Larsa taking it upon herself to call out Julia for making out with a guy, which is so like shoehorned in there.
I didn't really think it was that bad. You can talk how you feel about it.
I don't think that it was that bad. I just don't see why, to Adriana's point, like, why bring this up now? This is my day. Like, we're on the boat. I don't understand
because
why
nobody's respecting her day to begin with. So
Correct.
They don't care.
Correct. But this just seemed like the wrong place or time to do it, in my opinion. And when Adriana, like, kind of tries to shut it down because she wants to make this day about her again, Kiki's chiming in. And this is where I actually can defend Kiki a little bit, because Adriana very quickly is like, you don't know shit, and pretty much tells her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, Kiki was the only one that showed up to the choreography. She was the only one that took this seriously on Adriana's behalf. And so for her to now, like, tell her, of all people there, like, that's the one person that you just need to kind of, like, bite your tongue and, like, let it go. She went after the wrong person there.
I agree 100%.
With that. So I don't think that she's totally the bad guy. Did she blow it out of proportion by storming off and, like, threatening the director with legal action and then messing up all of the footage? Yeah, she didn't need to take it that far. However, I do understand feeling scorned after you showed up for your friend, and then of all the people to throw under the bus, she throws you under the bus.
Yeah, and I don't really think that she's thinking necessarily in that moment. I think that Adriana is so stressed out and annoyed that no matter who said whatever, she probably would have reacted in that way. And again, like, I don't really like Adriana. I don't really feel anything towards her. I don't, like, stand by anything that she does. I just kind of felt a little bit bad because she was taking it seriously and nobody else was. Now, into the Larsa-Julia thing, which I guess is sort of like the main component of the whole episode, I didn't really see an issue because Larsa did bring it up last week when she was sitting at lunch. And she's like, hey, I just found out that somebody saw Julia at the hotel, or at the surf club, rather, making out with a guy. And then the very next episode, she went and said it directly to Julia. So, like, I appreciate that over just continuing to talk around it. And, like, that's kind of bullshit. So she went cut and dry. Julia didn't really see an issue with it. She explained it right away. She said, you know, I'm quirky. Martina knows I'm quirky. We like to see when people are taking pictures of us. We like to, you know, do something weird. Sometimes I'll kiss a guy. Sometimes I'll give him a hug, whatever. Who knows? And she didn't really seem offended by it. She says that she felt a little weird about it and she knew that Larsa was doing something pointed, but she didn't get upset about it. And then Larsa's like, all right, well, this is cool. Like, let's talk about it. I want to know more information about when you do this and how you do it, who this guy is, whatever. And other people are getting involved. So it wasn't even an argument. That's the whole thing, is it wasn't an argument. Adriana just got pissed that they weren't taking her thing seriously. Kiki then blows it out. And then we see later at Julia's house that Martina also thinks it's funny. Well, so it's just like, it doesn't matter. It's kind of funny. I liked it because it was a different element.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I do think that she was slightly upset. I understood where Adriana was coming from. I don't think that Julia was comfortable in that situation, and I felt that Larsa was trying to push it more so than her just being curious and wanting to know what was going on. Okay. I think that she was trying to dig a little bit, and I think that becomes more clear when we fast forward to the party. Like, I can't imagine if I witness what I think is adultery and then going up to the spouse of that person at a party in front of their spouse and being like, hey, she made out with somebody. Like, that was so minimized on what kind of moment that could have been. Like, in 90% of marriages, 99% of marriages, like if that same situation occurs, you are getting a knockdown, drag out argument that could potentially end in a divorce.
Yeah.
In this situation, thank God Martina's like so cool, and I love when they cut to that quick scene where they're like designing the house, and she's like, "No, put your trophies there." She's like, "It's not big enough for my trophies." Like Martina is the coolest. I just want to hang out with her.
Yeah, Martina's like, I hooked up with a guy, one of the tennis guys. He was big in the 90s.
I think it was Bjorn Borg.
Probably. And Marisol's sitting there like, I know who it is. I got to figure this out. I know who it is. And she just starts going through these like 90s tennis icons. I thought it was Johnny McEnroe at first. I was like, that would be funny. But anyway, we'll digress from the sports talk. It was nice because Martina didn't get pissed off about it.
No.
And you know what? At the end of the day, if Larsa was being malicious and that was her intent, she got nothing. And that's awesome.
Oh, it was funny
because them swimming at the end, and Julie apparently can't swim, I guess, because they were talking about her potentially drowning, and that's why she doesn't go in the water anymore.
Oh, really?
That was the whole thing, yeah.
She swam fine.
That's what I thought, but she said that you might have to resuscitate me after a little while if I'm out there too long. Maybe. So I think she's afraid of the water. I don't know, whatever. But it was a nice moment.
It was a sweet moment.
After that whole thing, and we got nothing from it, Larsa walks away empty-handed if she was trying to be malicious, and we get to see a nice marriage. So I'm okay with that.
I did.
It was a nice moment.
It was funny when it gets completely negated by Martina being like, "Yeah, whatever." Like as long as it's not a woman, then I would get kind of jealous. But if it's a dude, like, meh. I kissed a guy in the 90s. Like, Larsa gives this weird like raise the roof motion, like ooh, like trying to like join in with the other girls laughing about it. But it's like, hey, you're the one that like tried to stir the pot with this. You don't get to celebrate because it was like knocked down. That's embarrassing. But overall, like, just a good episode. It's just like, was a lot happening? No, but it was enjoyable. I like seeing the ladies like having fun on the boat. I think what is good about this show is you have the Marisol element. You have her just like the wild card being like, I'm just going to keep pushing booze and fun. And like, I'm sure we'll get into some drama with her eventually, but for the time being, she's just like, she is the CEO or the mayor of fun. What CEO the fuck is Meredith supposed to be? Meredith was supposed to be. Marisol is the CEO of fun, and she does a good job because she has a bag packed with booze everywhere she goes. That's the key to a good time with these women.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
The only other part is just, the Lisa and Lenny stuff. We don't have to dive too far into it. I just think it's going to be sad to watch a lot of this because it is so public and it is like a real divorce. But the one thing I want to comment on, they finally did like a zoom out of the house that they live in. That is atrocious. That place is like a compound.
House. It's like, I think when Colleen and I were watching it, I think I said, give me the White House, but make it super ugly.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it looks like. And they just put like random, I guess it's like air conditioning and whatever. And there's just boxes everywhere. And it just looks like shit.
It looks terrible.
Lenny definitely designed it too. And who the fuck cares?
And last but not least, we are back in Potomac, and we had an explosive episode. We finally got to see the face-off between Charisse and Karen, and we will get there. And we start out, and there's something to these kinds of scenes that I think are really important for me as a viewer, especially because you and I, we have strong opinions, and we stand firm in these opinions, and we can forget quite frequently that these are real people. And it's good to be reminded that even if you don't agree with one of these women, they are people going through real things. And we have a scene with Giselle, and she has fibroids on her uterus that are like so big that she needs them surgically removed. And obviously that's like a really difficult process. It's a tough procedure. It's uncomfortable, and it can cause a lot of damage. And it's good for me just to like see these kinds of scenes because I think Giselle is a great mom. I've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And like, she is a human being, and she's a real human being. And whether she does some things that are kind of like sketchy or not, like, obviously I want her to be okay and get through all this like unscathed. And it's a good reminder that these are TV shows. These are played up characters of who these women are. And I like to see that kind of stuff because it brings me back down to earth.
Yeah, it humanizes. Sometimes they're so big and like the things they do are so unattainable. It's like, I don't even know if I'm even watching real life anymore. Like, it's reality TV, but you question it sometimes. And then when something like this happens, you're like, all right, that humanizes you, makes you seem more relatable. We talk about like relatability. We talk about relatability with a lot of these people. And that's definitely one of those moments where you're like, all right, like that sucks. Feel for you. Obviously, we want her to do the best and be at top health and move forward and give us a couple more great seasons of Potomac. But that's how these trips always work. And how many trips have they gone on in Potomac now? Is this the third?
Well, I think so.
I think it's the third. I think they did.
They're making up for the lack of good trips in Salt Lake.
Yeah, I know, right? God. I mean, at least they went to. Now, all right, let's use that like kind of loosely.
Yeah, because I guess the Miami trip was kind of a dud.
Miami sucked.
Yeah.
And this one, honestly, I mean, we can kind of jump into it. I don't think we're really missing anything else for the prep work, right? Am I skipping over something?
I mean, no, because, Robin and Juan don't seem that interested in their marriage, so why should we be?
I know, seriously. That's actually a really good point.
The kids are like, I didn't think you guys were actually going to get married. Like, they are so checked out of this wedding, and then they drop it on them like, yeah, it's just going to be us four. The kid's like, okay.
Where are we going to go? And they're like, Jamaica? And they're like, not Jamaica. We were thinking like Chesapeake Bay. And our oldest son's like, ugh.
Yeah,
God,
like,
Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, what a special
like 20 minutes
scene.
away. Sick. Great. We can't even go to an island. Just the four of us. Jesus. And then a haberdasher comes over.
Yeah, and
I love the title of haberdasher.
It is a great title.
So sick. I know exactly what it is as soon as I read it. I'm like, that's sick.
Yeah, it's a great title. You know what else is a good title?
Cobbler.
Yes.
Really?
Wow,
Is that what you're going for?
dude.
Nice. That was sick. It's the only other one that I can think of that's like
remarkable.
But no, I mean, yeah, exactly. We can skip over that because they're not very interested in it. I don't know if it's reasonable or shady, but whatever it is.
Is
God,
that the
I gotta stop
second
doing
reasonable
this.
shady reference?
You know what it was? Giselle was wearing a hat, and I was like, that's actually kind of a cool hat.
I saw it too, and that's the first thing I thought was like, that's not a bad
I was
hat.
like, it's not a bad hat. I like the colors. It looks good. Whatever. The haberdasher did make fun of Juan Dixon's fit for his draft day, which was back in, I guess, like 2002.
I love
it. Was like around pre-LeBron James a little bit, but those looks are so funny.
They're
like
so
Iverson
good.
in his huge, and like Iverson's not a big dude, and he's got like a suit that Shaq would wear now that would be fitting on him.
Yep.
And Iverson was wearing it. Just classic days.
Like the
Go
classic
back and
Michael
look at those
Jordan like suit pants that he used to wear. They're just like,
oh my God,
they're so wide.
I'm picturing like Scottie Pippen too, which is funny. But yeah, if you have a moment, go back and look at those drafts. But yeah, not a lot going on. We move to Mexico, and I guess you send down the welcome crew first. You get, I don't know necessarily why Karen is co-hosting this. Like, why does there have to be a co-host for things?
I think Karen's just kind of like the peacekeeper, so to speak, which is ironic because of how this episode plays out. But I think that she plays mother to a lot of these women.
That's fair.
So I think that, even Giselle and her relationship, which can be tumultuous at times, like there's still that level of respect for one another.
Well, that's
so
the thing with Karen, and that's why it's so funny to see later with her and Charisse. Even when she doesn't really vibe with somebody, she still keeps it like kind of copacetic, and like you can be friends, and she values friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And then just seeing her relationship with Charisse is so bizarre because you're like, why? You're not giving her like what is going on? We'll get there. But they get down there, and the welcome party goes down with Ashley, Wendy, and Karen. And then the rest of them have to all kind of like file in. My first question is, what's going on? Like, why is Jaqueline there? She's friends with Mia, of all fucking people. She's not really friends with anybody else. Like, why? Like, is Ashley doing this?
Maybe.
Is this producing? Like,
I think it's probably production. I think they know that there's some drama there because we've been talking about the Jaqueline Mia shit all season.
So they thought that was going to be like big and play big, which I guess it has.
It did.
So now we've got her, and now she's taking center stage fighting with me. The whole thing seems weird. Now, I'll tell you what, about this place that they're staying in Mexico. They pull up, and I'm like, this looks kind of nice. And then I see the bar. I'm like, this looks really cool. And then the other women show up, and then they go into this birthday party, and it's a fucking like office.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is this
How about
place?
when Robin is on her balcony?
Oh, the broken balcony?
The broken balcony.
I was like, that's dangerous.
You could fall off.
I love that you saw that. That's
yeah,
so
of course I
funny.
saw that. Like,
God.
it was completely unhinged. I was like, that's not good. Like, someone could easily take a topple off of that, especially if they're lit. I need to touch on one thing first, and we're going to have a conversation right now. So, Ashley hands out party favors. What does everybody get?
Vibrators.
I just think it's funny because, like, women can hand out these like vibrators as like
what are dudes
party
gonna hand out,
favors.
fleshlights?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That'd be weird.
but they can see it as like, oh, ha ha, like a little vibrator, and like it's seen as like empowering, and it's funny, and it's fun, and it's just a good gift. And like I've heard about this in the past. This is not the first I've heard of like vibrators being handed out. If we show up to like a dude's weekend, I'm like, all right, here's all your room assignments. There's a little toy in there for you. And you walked in, and I bought every guy there a fleshlight. It's such a different vibe.
Yeah, it really is. It's so strange. But like even like I don't know, and we've seen this before. Like the housewives will go on a trip, whatever franchise it is, they'll go on a trip, and they'll get each other vibrators. And I guess that's just like a normal thing to do. I don't understand
it's just like a funny thing to do. It's kind of like lighthearted, but it's like they're not seen as nearly, and even in my own eyes, it's not nearly as vulgar as like if I gave a guy like a sex toy. It's much dirtier and like darker.
Yeah, blow up doll.
Yeah, I got you. Hey guys, fun boys trip. Everyone's got their own blow up doll.
I've already named them all for you. The names written on the packaging. Thanks, guys. But yeah,
anyway, that's all.
Yeah,
I just wanted to touch on that.
So we get down there, and I guess we can kind of just jump right into the Mia Jaqueline thing. I don't really get it. I also just like don't care. And this is the problem. And I know that a lot of people also do not like Mia. And I'm trying really hard to look at her in like a different light and try to enjoy or at least be interested when things are going on. As soon as she starts arguing, I'm just looking at her. I'm like, shut up. Like enough. Like I don't get it. She's mad now because of the whole Jaqueline thing where first off, I guess Mia's paying Jaqueline's sister to be her nanny. And then she's telling her sister to also look after Jaqueline's kids. So her niece and nephew or nieces or whatever. Also didn't even know that Jaqueline had kids. Haven't been interested. I don't really understand it. Like, what's the big problem if you're so close with Jaqueline? Who gives a shit?
Well, the problem was they start commenting on each other's parenting skills or something where
yeah.
And then Jaqueline throws out there, it takes a village, but you wouldn't know that because Mia grew up as like an orphan and was adopted and was an only child and all that stuff. So Jaqueline throws a dagger in there, but it was after she was scorned by Mia. Mia started talking shit. Jaqueline clapped back. Mia didn't like it. And I guess they like had a full-blown argument on the plane ride down.
Yeah. No, and of course, like classless Mia and Jaqueline in first class arguing in front of everybody. That's always fun. But I didn't take that comment about it takes a village and you wouldn't know that. Oh, I guess it does. Yeah. At the time, I was like, maybe Jaqueline's saying because like she's a single mom and she has to take care of her own kids, and Mia doesn't get it because she has a dad or Daddy G. God, I just called him Dad. But that's how I took it. Yeah, maybe that's how I took it. I have no fucking idea what I was thinking at the time. I was definitely out of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's what sparked Mia kind of like coming after her.
Fucking mean.
It was, but you know, you can only be pushed so far, and like to try to give Jaqueline some grace here, like she clearly panders to Mia 24/7, whether she needs something from her or she's trying to save their friendship or a little bit of both. It probably is, a little bit of both, but you can only take so much shit before you kind of like snap, and I think that's what we finally saw here. I think we saw Jaqueline just become unraveled with trying to be okay with all the shit that Mia puts her through and always defending her and always having her back and speaking on her behalf. And like Mia can do no wrong. And then she says one of the worst possible things you can say. And she quotes Nene Leakes, who is a former housewife. And this was a very famous line. She said, "Keep your legs close to married men." Here's the weird part. Jaqueline's reaction is, "I would never sleep with your husband." She's talking directly about Daddy G.
Yep.
Giselle points out she didn't say her husband.
Nope.
She said married men in general. Jaqueline's so distraught. She keeps repeating it over and over again. I'm like, okay, stop. This is a bad look. This is a really bad look.
Well, then there's got to be something else going on here.
There's way more going on.
Do you think that now, because of what's been going on and all these questions, that Mia is now questioning if Daddy G and Jaqueline ever did hook up?
So that's exactly.
And now we're going after that.
Here's what I think the root of all of it is. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Blow my mind.
Blow
my gear.
Here's my tinfoil moment. I think that at some point there was some sort of infraction on Daddy G's account with Jacqueline. I think something went down that was not cool, that Mia did not like. And I think that to cope with it, Mia has acted like, oh, it's like a throuple. Like, oh, yeah, we fool around. I'm okay with it. It wasn't a big deal, because Mia doesn't want to admit that she feels weakness towards Jacqueline, who slighted her by hooking up with her husband in some way, shape, or form. So if she acts like she doesn't care, she remains in power over Jacqueline. And I think that at this moment, Mia's true feelings came out. Don't fuck with my husband. Jacqueline's distraught because, one, she thought this was water under the bridge, and two, now she has to defend herself. Well, we didn't have sex. It's one of those like, well, is it really cheating? Like, we didn't bang.
Yeah.
That's my tinfoil hat theory.
I like that. That's actually a pretty good theory.
Yeah.
I have a tinfoil hat theory, and this is just all Mia hate. I don't think she does a goddamn thing for that company. I think that she's just a face for the company. She didn't even know that they started construction on one of the sites.
I know.
She was like, when did they start construction? And she was like, Monday. She's like, Monday? Really? Is it going to be open by July? He's like, no. September. Like, you're just fucking wrong. She's got these little Post-it notes and shit all around. I think that it's just a fucking facade. I think Daddy G actually really does run everything. You saw Jacqueline look at him and say, you gave me the down payment for my Porsche.
Yep.
Not you, Mia. You don't have fucking money. So I really do think that it's all a fucking joke. Not a joke for... I mean, it's a joke for me because that's really funny. But for her, she's just trying to look like this boss bitch, CEO, whatever.
Yep.
I don't think she does a goddamn thing except show up to these openings and look, quote unquote, pretty.
And
like it's just not, that's what she does.
And we saw the opening. Like, no one's there except for your friends and the castmates of the show.
Yeah.
Like, who throws that kind of grand
For a
opening for a chiropractor? Nobody. Come on.
Well, that's like one of those, like, it's funny because you might see like a gas station. Like Colleen tells this story all the time when we're driving past her parents' house. She's like, you see that gas station over there? They had a grand opening that they had a DJ and they had food trucks. And I'm like, for a gas station? But you know what? It makes me think. When people work really hard and they get finally something to open, they want to have a big party.
Okay.
I get that gas station.
Okay, fair.
You have 15 chiropractors. You don't need to do this every goddamn time.
No, you don't.
We don't want to see you every time.
You know
I
who
don't
it's,
care.
You know who it's for?
It's for Mia.
It's for Mia.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
But that's why she's a fake boss. It makes her feel more important than she actually is. So I'm done with Mia. Let's stop talking about her. Let's move on to another goddamn shaman.
Yes, we got another shaman. I wish it had been Fernando. Like, Fernando needed to be there, and I'm bummed that Fernando wasn't there. Like,
yeah,
this guy, I guess, was good. I don't know. They definitely didn't have nearly as cathartic of an experience as the ladies of Miami did. But they got through it, where then they were all jumping around in the water. Jacqueline was still crying. I couldn't get it out of my head. The shaman just reminded me of Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong.
He did look like Tommy Chong, yeah. I don't, like, why is this a thing, though? Like, this is, what, our fourth fucking shaman
Fourth shaman.
year?
This is a fourth shaman
This is ridiculous.
In months, honestly, not even a year.
What does this do? I mean, like, we saw the women in Miami crying last week, and I guess that was a nice moment. Again, me not in touch with my emotions. I don't care. But this week, I was just like, oh, fuck, another shaman. Really? With the smoke and the... We're not getting anywhere. I'm not even paying attention. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to dick around, I guess. But nothing happens.
No.
Do we need the shaman for every freaking birthday party or whatever we're doing? Why?
Because I love the shaman scenes now. They're
I like
a staple
to see
in my
them
life.
for like a minute, but like it shouldn't take up more than that.
No, they are a mainstay for me, and I want them to stick around.
God.
But this leads to what we've been waiting for all season. What they've done a good job with in Potomac is keeping us interested in other storylines as we get here. Other than, of course, the Chris storyline, which was ridiculous and stupid.
I'm so happy. I think they're done with it.
I do too, and I'm not even going to touch on it more than this. That was their biggest slip up this season, but overall, it's been an entertaining season. We have been waiting for this. Charisse and Karen are at the dinner table, and the tensions are high. You can feel the tensions are high. To Charisse's credit, she's trying to talk to Karen. Karen will not let her get a word in. Karen keeps trying to, like, one-up her and, like, shut her down by throwing out evidence that's not really defending any point, and it finally escalates because Charisse starts to ask her, well, when my mom died, did you call? No. When I got divorced, did you call? No. And Karen's like, well, I sent you a text. I sent my condolences. That's all I needed to do. Blah, blah, blah. Like, when my mom died, she brings it up. And then Charisse is like, I was at the funeral.
Yeah.
She says, I was there. I was there for you.
Yep.
And Karen blows up. Karen stands up from the table. You keep my mom's name out of your mouth, starts yelling about her mom. She's not talking shit about your mom.
No.
You're deflecting. This is a deflection 150%. And this is where I'm a Grand Dame supporter, ride or die till the end. I love Karen. She's great. She's great for TV. This makes her look bad. This makes her look like
we don't
she
even know
did something.
why.
Exactly.
That's the worst part. Is like it could be
Exactly.
something innocuous that maybe, and we find out that obviously like Karen has some weird like quips going on where, yeah, she doesn't like her boobs being called titties. She'd rather them just be called boobs. She doesn't like a video of her like dancing and having fun in Miami out on the internet. So she has these like reserved feelings about herself. So it honestly could be something very minor that maybe Charisse knows and she just doesn't want it to get out. But there's obviously something, and that's brutal because you go back to the reunion, she used again, and I hate this, but like she's essentially weaponizing or using a way to deflect by crying and running away. And that's what she did again. She just waited until the subject turned to something that she could turn into a huge emotional outburst, and she freaked out about her mom to get my mom, like, don't talk about my mom's funeral. Like, no one was. You were. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You were talking about
Why
it.
are you doing this if not to cover up for something that you don't want to get out? We just got, look, we talk about this all the time. We talk about it with Salt Lake. If we don't find out what happens in this, I'm kind of okay with it, only because I don't want it to be a bummer. You know what I mean? Like, if she's cheating on Ray, that's a huge story that's going to go out everywhere. But I feel like we would know that already.
I do too.
So if it never gets out, I think I'm okay with it, because if it's a huge letdown and it's something stupid, I'm going to be pissed off. But if they just keep fighting, I'm okay with that, because they actually are fighting, and that's really emotional.
That was
and it's
real.
fun.
It was real, raw emotion. And like, yeah, I appreciate that for sure. It's funny you said that, because it cuts to Giselle and it's like, what, did she kiss one of your boyfriends?
Yeah.
Like, the implications, and this is...
Giselle also said, why am I watching this geriatric fight? That was really funny.
But the issue with this is the longer you play it out without any kind of inkling of what's going on or what happened, the speculation is going to get worse and worse, and you're going to think that something more major happened. And look, for Karen, who is pretty calm, cool, and collected with most of the women, even when they do something wrong, like we saw with Candace, like she was very quick to be like, you apologized, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep it in my mind, but we're good. For her to hold a grudge for this long tells me that either Charisse did something really fucked up, which I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't
Not
think
based
so
off
either.
Of that.
It doesn't feel that way.
Behavior doesn't point to that.
Or Charisse found something out and Karen iced her out.
It's got to be that.
That's what it feels like, and it hurts me to say that. It pains me to say that, and I hope it's nothing major and nothing too damning, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on. Now, I mean, we could have a whole like half an hour special just speculating on what it could be.
Sure.
What would be the best TV for you? Would it be that she was stepping out on Ray? Or, here's my opinion, I think it would be best if she somehow betrayed, say, I don't fucking know. I don't want to throw Mia under the bus again. I feel like it's low-hanging fruit. But if she, say, betrayed Candace and nobody knew about that, except for Charisse, I feel like that would be good if it was like an internal damage thing going on.
I mean, that would be the best outcome as far as like saving face for Karen.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I don't want to see her having stepped out on Ray, because Ray just seems like, a sweet older man. Like, he doesn't seem
like if she did, he probably knows about it. Like, that's the thing, is he might know about it and be okay with it. Like, maybe they have an arrangement.
That's a big claim. Well, they have an arrangement where she's allowed to look, but she can't touch. Like, she calls it eye candy, and Ray signed off on that, which also doesn't sound great now that we're speculating. You know what I mean? So
sorry for opening the store.
Yeah, it's just as a grand. What do we call ourselves? La Dames?
I think La Dames.
La Dames, as a La Dame, I don't want it to be anything too damning. She's not doing herself any favors.
Yeah, and we get the dreaded to be continued.
To be TBC, but that also leaves the door open to getting an answer.
Yes.
And I will say...
Although we got a TBC for Heather's black eye.
That's a good point. And I have one more theory about that.
Oh, let's hear it.
And it's not about the black eye. Why Heather is so ride or die for Jen. I think Heather's in love with Jen Shaw.
That's possible.
I genuinely think that. I don't know if
That's what Angie K brought up.
Yeah.
That maybe they were, getting a little risque in the bedroom.
When she was saying that stuff, and it seemed like she was just trying to throw daggers because she was pissed off because Jen's now claiming that Angie K's the one that punched Heather, which is such a ridiculous claim to make. Just like, oh, she did it. But the more I'm like looking at it from that lens of like maybe she has feelings for Jen, and whether they're sexual or not is completely irrelevant. There's some sort of emotional attachment where she can't see past all the bullshit. She can't seem to like take the blinders off to be, how are you going to defend this woman? I saw videos and confessions from the victims of this, and it's really fucking sad. It is older men and women that have lost everything because of this. They had to move back into their like sons and daughters' houses because they can't afford to live on their own. Like real life shit. You can't defend that when someone openly says they're guilty, and the evidence against her is baffling. Like it's not even close. She clearly did it.
And we're not even on this segment anymore, but it was still so funny to watch Meredith, Heather, and Jen sit in that hotel room and talk about it.
I know.
Knowing now that she's been sentenced, it's over with, whatever. It's just so funny. Like they're sitting there just having a normal chat. Like she's going to jail for 6.5 years. Like having a good time, whatever. You fucking idiots.
I hate that we came back around to it, but that was a theory I wanted to
That's
get
not a
out
bad
there.
theory. I can see that. A little Stockholm syndrome, maybe.
But that takes us to our question portion for the evening. Let's see what we got tonight. From Greer Apollo, what were your thoughts on the Summer House trailer, Go Birds? Yes, go Birds.
That's always going to get our attention. I don't know. It seems interesting. There's a couple of new faces. Now, we're going to have to do a little bit of homework, but we generally see with these shows when you add too many new faces, it gets a little weird. I think it looks pretty good. You got Carl kind of blowing up. I don't think he's drinking, but him blowing up at Kyle's always a little bit of fun. I've heard some people refer to it as, it looks like the last couple of seasons, which have been clunkers for the most part. It's going back to like its old glory days. So I hope so. I really like Summer House when I first started watching it, and the last couple of seasons have been kind of disappointing. So let's hopefully get back.
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed Summer House because I got into it late. So even the bad seasons weren't terrible because I didn't really know what I was getting into. So
It's
I
also
still
like
enjoyed
kind of a light
them.
watch. Yeah, it's not too heavy.
It's not the Housewives where it's 24/7 for 6 to 7 months. It's every other. It's weekends in the Hamptons, so you get just a taste here and there. So.
If I swear to God, if Sierra and Austin are a thing again, I'm gonna.
I
stop
want
watching.
that. Why?
What do you mean? Why?
I
want
wanna
the
see-
stupidest storyline.
It makes it. No, I don't want to see it dragged out. Just get together, be together, and like move the fuck on.
Nah, done with it.
He cannot do better than Sierra.
He should not be on Summer House at all. I've had enough of Austin.
Oh,
All right, like
what a
I
turn.
really don't think he's that bad. Stay on your respective shows, okay, everybody, for a little while. Enough of this crossover bullshit.
All right. From Zara Elin. I hope I said that right. Zaraylan.
Zaraylan.
One day I'm gonna be good at reading names.
No, you're not.
Do you think the Grand Dame fight was real or staged?
I think it was real.
That was
Those
definitely
emotions were real.
That was
Yeah.
100% real. There's no way that was staged.
I had to really think about that question, make sure I was hearing it right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
thought it
that
was pretty.
yeah, it's
yeah,
very real.
definitely
That's
real.
one of the realer ones we've seen, I think. That was raw emotion.
Real. Zara real
I
or
think it's
staged.
Zara, but there's an E in there. Maybe that's your middle name. Zara E. Allen? Fuck, is that it? It's hard.
That's awesome.
Moving on. From Mary Had a Little. Thank you. That's easy. If Jen does a sit down with Andy, will you cover it? Yeah, because we have to.
Oh God, I'm gonna hate that.
But
That
like
3.5 hours. They're gonna make it 3 parts, right?
it's gonna be 3 episodes, and here's my biggest
You're
issue
gonna
with
need
it.
a new TV.
Honestly, my biggest issue is that I don't want to give her any more screen time. She is a terrible, terrible, horrible person. She
And we
posted
know
a
she's
picture
gonna
today.
lie.
She's gonna lie. She's gonna try to make herself look good. She's gonna come up with every excuse in the book. Don't give her the time of day. This is not some groundbreaking interview with like a sketchy public figure. Like, let's get the real story from them. Like, this is a housewife that defrauded elderly people out of money. Let her fade off and send her to fucking prison, please.
Yeah, I think what we can, at least what Steele and I can claim right now is we'll watch it, but we don't want to give her any more screen time. So unless there's something like groundbreaking or earth-shattering, whatever, that happens or comes to light, we're probably not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to gloss over it.
We'll touch briefly, but
I'm going to tweet something out like that day, little PSA, hey, everybody, remember Jen Shah is a piece of shit. So if you're going to watch it, don't give her any airtime. Make fun of her the whole time. Great. Fine by me.
yeah,
But
exactly.
don't give her any, like, props for anything.
Absolutely not. From Omar Key. How is Heather going to do damage control next season with the girls and the fans? I have no clue.
Good luck.
I don't know how you come back from this season. It was...
She's just going to act like nothing happened, probably.
That's her go-to move, but like...
Yeah. I just hope Whitney calls it, because Whitney has progressed and, like,
she's done really
grown
well.
up so much that I could see Heather just acting like nothing happened. You could see Meredith being okay with that because they both stood by Jen for so long, so they're both in the same shitty bucket. And then I feel like Whitney's going to call her out on her shit and be like, I don't know, last year you're kind of a bitch. I don't know what you're doing this year. And maybe we'll get a good dynamic out of it. Maybe it'll make for good TV. At least there won't be a convicted felon on TV anymore. So, yeah, there's a good thing.
I guess there's an upside for our next season if there is one. And to finish it off, arguably one of the greatest questions we've ever gotten from SDuds81. Oh, wait, no, I misread that. This isn't a good question. If the Eagles weren't in the playoffs, what team would you like to see win the Super Bowl? Nobody. If the Eagles don't win,
Cancel the season.
we want everybody to lose. We're not fair weather fans.
What the hell?
Yeah, if the birds aren't in it, then we don't watch it.
We definitely watch it.
No.
But absolutely.
Figuratively
watch it.
speaking.
Like every play of every game.
No,
Still watch it. But I don't know. I'll give her the Bills, probably. Give her a real answer.
If we're going to do this, all right, if we're going to give you a real answer, this took a turn.
Just because I'm so confident that we are going to win it.
Yeah, I feel
Bills.
good about it too. I mean, the Bills would be cool for sure.
Seahawks.
Actually, that's my answer. I would like to
First
see
seed.
Geno Smith rise from the ashes as he has this season, and for him to make it to the Super Bowl after being counted out for almost a decade.
They'll finally write back.
Yeah, they'll finally write back. And if you get that reference, then you are a football fan.
Congratulations.
But that does it for us tonight. Remember to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok at @brav_bros, and follow us on YouTube. We are now YouTube boys.
Watch the whole damn episode so you can see us do stupid shit the whole time.
Yeah, you'll see how like awkward we get at points. But
every time that we move around,
yep.
because we constantly move around.
My one thing, our username on YouTube, because you set it up. Why?
It just if you type in Brav Bros, we pop
up. Our
but
username at Brav Bros Podcast 8866.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was even an @ function.
Can we come up with a reason that we're 8866?
We'll find a reason.
Yeah, we'll brainstorm. Yeah. But also make sure you check out our store. Etsy.com/shop/Brav Bros. We got some pretty good swag in there. There might be some updates for the Birds playoff run. Hint, hint. But that's all we got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, we will see you next week. Brav Bros are out of here.
Bye.
Wait.